If you like Jane Austen's novel Mansfield Park, then you know the play Lover's Vows, which was an 18th century comedy. It was adapted by a woman named Elizabeth Inchbald, who was very famous in her own time period, but today we only know her pretty much thanks to Austen's novel. She was part of my Jane Austen bookshelf project, and I learned very quickly that she was called the celebrated Mrs. Inchbald. She was not only one of the great playwrights of the era, but also one of the most acclaimed novelists of the era. Her 1791 Simple Story was considered one of the best novels of the 1790s, which was the era in which Austen was growing up and reading a lot of novels. Inchbald was so famous that this series here used her fame in order to sell books. It's called The British Theatre, and it was published in 1808, and it's essentially a collection of classic plays that are introduced by Elizabeth Inchbald, and she is the selling point. You can see biographical and critical remarks by Mrs. Inchbald with her portrait at the very beginning. It's very much like a modern film today that you see Quentin Tarantino presents. Lover's Vows, the play in Jane Austen's book, actually was not one of my favorites. I didn't like it much at all, but I read some of her other comedies like I'll Tell You What, and they were very fresh and funny. So I think there is actually something there, and I highly recommend her novel, A Simple Story.